Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panmo TV. I'm on York Station here and I'm heading for Hull. The reason I'm heading for Hull, it's all a little bit furtive. I'm actually going to the Outer Limits magazine conference. Let me just show you. And so this is the event I'm going to gate crash. Did I say gate crash? I mean attend. Yes, this is the Outer Limits Magazine Conference 2022. It's been delayed by 2 years because of the pandemic and it's finally happening. Speakers, interesting set of speakers here. Mike Covell, local man. Paul Askoff, he's into quite interesting stuff to do with dogmen and things like that. Paul Sinclair, of course, Bempton phenomenon. Sasha Christie, experiencer, and she's got someone to back her up this time, Steve Midgley. I've got my problems with her personally, but I'm still going to listen to what she has to say. Colin Saunders, yes, a guy who had an encounter with a flying triangle. The Kinsella twins, Ronald and Philip, of course. Peter Robbins. Peter Robbins is actually a triple bill. He seems to be their keynote speaker, and he's actually going to do 3 separate talks. 1 on Saturday evening, 2 on Sunday, 1 in the morning, and 1 to close. And Malcolm Robinson of the Scottish Paranormal Investigation. Yeah. So, yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. So, let's get going. It's all quite easy. I'm filming here on the station, and I can sort of walk around like this, just being myself. But as I get closer to Hull, I'm going to have to take steps to be a little bit inconspicuous. I mustn't be too obtrusive for reasons that will become clear to you. But I'm going to get on the train at the moment. I think I'm pretty safe here. But I'm going to have to be I'll just have to be a little bit careful as I get closer, because basically nobody must know I'm going to Hull right now. So I'm on the train now, I'm going to head for Hull. Look, I've arrived. I'm in hostile territory now. I must remember that. I'm going to move quickly, I'm going to move discreetly, swiftly. Swiftly and discreetly. I'm going to move as I can to my hotel. Work out which way I'm going first. I've made it to the hotel. Thank goodness for that. What a relief. Thank you. Right, well, I made it. I'm in the hotel. I'm at the Travelodge in Hull, and it's about 5:30 in the evening, and there's now literally nothing I can do except wait. Now normally at this point I'd be going out on the town. I'd be going to a pub, going around, see if I could meet other people from the conference, looking out for friends and things like that. But I can't do that this time. I can't do that. In fact, when I was walking from the station to the hotel, which is just a short walk, it's about a 5-minute walk, with my little disguise on, sunglasses and the coof mask, because the only time you're going to get me you'll see me wearing one of those, I can tell you. I was looking around very carefully, hoping I wouldn't see anyone I knew. I don't want anyone who knows me to see me, and if they do see me, they must not recognise me, because it's absolutely essential that no one knows that I'm in town, so I'm going to have to keep a very low profile. My original plan was to, you know, just stay in the hotel, use the bar and the dining room downstairs, but then I suddenly realised that I can't even do that because it's quite likely that some of the conference guests are going to be staying here. Now there is a hotel near the conference which I hear they're using for the speakers. No doubt some of the guests will be there. Once some of the delegates are going to be there. However, it's too small for all of them. So some of the delegates are going to be looking for other locations, and there's no doubt, I would think that at least some of the people who are going to attend this conference are in this hotel, the Travelodge in Hull. If they see me in the bar, or they see me in the dining room, you know, having a meal, then boom, my cover is blown. It's absolutely important that it's absolutely essential that no one knows I'm in town right now, which means I'm going to have to stay in this room until tomorrow morning. Yeah, I am. I've got I went shopping, I got some food. Sandwiches from Sainsbury's. I got 3 of those sandwiches actually. What's this one? Free range egg and cress. Yeah, and I've got my book to read, The Uninvited, and I've got quite a lot of audio on my little audio player, so I can keep myself entertained. But it's going to be a bit of a drag. I'm not used to being cooped up like this, but that's the only thing I can do really until tomorrow morning. Same Saturday night, assuming that I'm still here. You know, you see, I am going to the Outer Limits magazine conference. Now, you maybe say, what, Ben? You said you weren't. You said you weren't. I know, I've kept it from you. I've been keeping a few secrets from you the last couple of months. You see, I managed to get hold of something. I managed to get hold of a ticket. Never mind how, but I managed to get hold of a ticket. Now, I know it says here, the 4th encounter OLM 2021, 21st and 22nd of August, but it is valid. I mean, it's actually the organisers written on the back. It was valid for this particular conference because of it was cancelled because of the bloody lockdown, wasn't it? So yeah, I've managed to get hold of a ticket, so I can go to the conference, or can I? Because, of course, I told you the story, didn't I? I told you the story before about how I wanted to go to the conference, so I wrote off. I wrote off for some tickets. I actually wrote off and. Because before you could order the tickets online in the usual way, now you had to actually write in and send an email to the organiser, and they'd sort it out through bank transfer. Probably, I mean, maybe I'm a bit over cynical now. This was probably to avoid the very situation I was in before when I was banned from the first conference. That is, you know, so to keep undesirables away. So I wrote off and I asked if I asked for a ticket. They say, write to this address, we'll be in touch and then we'll sort it out through bank transfer. So I wrote off to the, saying, I can pay through PayPal, could I have a ticket for the whole weekend please, just one adult ticket for the whole weekend? No reply. I wrote off again, could I please have a ticket for the whole weekend? No reply. I wrote off a third time. I said, and this time I actually addressed Chris Evers personally. I said, Chris, could I please have a ticket for the whole weekend? No reply. They didn't write back and say, oh, sorry Ben, you're banned. You know, this is, I think is disrespectful. It'd be nice if they had. Maybe he's concerned that I'll go, you know, I'll get together with Tina and make another video about it. Well, you know, I don't think we would make another video about it because it's kind of old hat. But obviously, you know, I wanted to go to the conference, and no one was replying to my emails requesting a ticket. So kind of I think that's an elbow in the ribs. That's a hint, Ben, you're banned. We don't want you. It was not. I mean, they never actually said they didn't want me. They just said we feel that your presence or good order could not be maintained if you were present. Well, yeah. So that was upsetting. You see, I've never caused any trouble at a conference before. Never. I've loved going to conferences. And I've been very, very respectful and well behaved all the time I've been there. I've never ever caused any trouble ever in all the time I've been going to conferences. And I've been going to UFO paranormal conspiracy theory conferences since 2006, October 2006, when I went to my first Probe conference. If there is any criticism you could make of me, actually, at UFO paranormal conspiratorial conferences, The one criticism I think you could possibly make of me is that if anything, I've become I get a bit manic. I've said it before, conference fever. I get conference fever and it goes to my head a little bit. I can start acting in a bit of a manic way. I can be a bit, some people find that a bit overbearing. And that's, I think, is the only criticism you could really make of me, and it hardly warrants being banned. Had I been allowed to go to this conference, and indeed if I'm allowed to go to this one, then you know, there's absolutely no way on earth I'm going to cause any trouble. I'm going to be very well behaved, as I always am. I just want to go along and enjoy the conference. And that's why I've managed to obtain this ticket. Even though I couldn't buy one directly, I've managed to wangle one through other means. And so I'm going to go. And you might say, well, Ben, but you can't go. If you're banned, they won't let you in. They won't let you in because you're banned. They won't let you in. They'll just say, go away when you turn up at the door. Well, that's true. I am banned, and I probably would be turned away from the door because I'm not allowed in. However, I know a man who is not. Allow me to introduce you to a friend of mine.
Hello everybody, my name is David Jones. Now, as you know, Ben is banned from the Outer Limits magazine conference, so I'm going to go there instead. Now, it won't be the same if he went himself, but I think I will be able to do a good job of living it for him so that I can report back to him so he knows exactly what happened and how it feels. I must say I'm very much looking forward to this. I've wanted to go to a UFO conference for a long time. Never been to one before, and I'm very pleased to say that I'm going to be going to one now. So I think it's time to leave and go there. I will see you again later.
Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday morning here in Hull, and it's pretty similar to the view from my hotel window that I had when I went to Rawcon, actually. I think I'm on a slightly lower floor. I'm on the 3rd floor. Last time I think I was on the 4th or 5th. But it's pretty, I'm looking at basically the same thing, and the weather is nice, just like it was then. And I'm getting ready now to go to the Outer Limits magazine conference, or rather, David is. Would you be fooled by that? If you saw that? I mean, if you saw David, would you be fooled by him? I mean, some of you know me better than others. That's the thing. Some of you know me better than others. Incidentally, you know, putting together my David disguise was actually quite difficult. I had to do some high street shopping, which is something I really don't like doing and hardly ever do. And I was quite surprised actually, where at no point did anyone say to me, "Oh, we don't accept cash here." You know, you wouldn't believe what a sloppy dresser I am. Well, maybe you would. You know, I do dress casually generally, as you know. I can dress up smart, but my clothing comes direct from a charity shop. Really, I just go around the charity shops till I find something my size. You know, smart shirts, things like that. And of course, well, I couldn't get everything I wanted in my usual shopping route, your circuit, so I had to go to Primark and places like that. I've never even, you know, I had to go into Marks and Spencer's. I mean, for the first time in years. God blimey. I mean, some of you were going to be ready to go, oh God. So anyway, I did put together my David kit, and some of the things I managed to buy online, the walking sticks I got online, for example. The question is, I mean, I don't know how well that would work. I don't know how well it's going to work. I am getting a bit of butterflies now. I don't know if I'm going to get away with this, quite frankly. Oops. My goodness me, they found me already. No, nobody's found me actually. I have not seen a single person I know since I arrived in Hull. Mind you, I've been in this room here I've been in my hotel room for 14 hours now, non-stop. I've eaten nothing but sandwiches and drunk nothing but water and tea and coffee from the free giveaways, which is not the nicest in the world. But it's necessary. It's necessary to make sure no one knows I'm here, as I explained. But if you see, I think what happens now is whether I get away with it or not is going to be very much down to me. Because I'm going to have to, firstly, I must make sure that I maintain my David voice, which is rather like David Attenborough, actually. I've sort of modelled it on David Attenborough, a very posh accent with slightly breathy, low intensity vocals, like this. If I've got to be careful not to slip, even when I'm faking a voice, you may know this because I fake voices, of course, all the time. I do fake voices, like my Guardian voice, man, when I'm doing my videos. I just got to be careful not to slip back into my own voice, and to do that I have to minimize social contact with people, basically not talk to people unless I have to. Now that is going to be difficult. This is something I'm going to have to focus on and concentrate on, because I'm naturally I am such an extrovert, especially at conferences. As I said before, I can, if anything, I can get in. Sometimes when I'm at conferences, I get in people's faces a bit too much, and it irritates them. As a result, I'm going to have to focus on being the quiet man who doesn't speak unless he's spoken to, and things like that. And it's going to be difficult, especially because I'll probably see people I know quite well and like very much at this conference. Because I know for a fact that some of my friends are attending. I'm going to meet people who recognise. I think it's most likely is my close friends are the people most likely to recognise me, of course. And the thing is, if I am challenged, I've got to be awfully careful and pay attention to every detail. For example, you may have noticed I was wearing a kind of black waterproof raincoat last night. The reason I was wearing that black waterproof raincoat is because my grey hoodie is just too distinctive. I have this sort of like capuchin brown hooded sweater you may be familiar with. That's what I often wear when I'm out, and that's just it's too Ben-esque. That's a new word, Ben-esque. So I'm going to have to be careful. I can't wear that. I couldn't even bring it with me. I started wearing that black raincoat. Although I'll probably leave it in the hotel room today, actually, because the weather forecast is gorgeous. It's going to be 20 degrees, clear sunshine, 10% chance of a shower. I mean, it's very, very nice weather today. Not too hot, which is good, because my David disguise is a little bit on the stuffy side. Now, so a lot of you are going to want me to... A lot of you will probably want me to, or maybe expecting me rather, to do what I normally do at conferences. That's go around filming everything, doing reportage, monologues, interviewing people, things like that. I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. Not only is it too Ben-esque, it will draw too much attention to myself. Well, I will try to get you some still photos or some brief clips. I'm actually using my GoPro here. I've actually got a GoPro 6. Which I brought with me. I don't use it very often, actually. I should use it more. There's only, in fact, I've only used it for a few videos so far. I'm going to take that with me to the conference. I'm going to leave behind the Sony Handycam, which I'm using right now in my hand here, and I'm going to take the GoPro 6 with me. And that is going to I'll try to get a few stills or brief video clips while I'm there, but they won't be very long, they won't be very detailed, they won't be doing detailed breakdowns of every speaker immediately after they finish, strolling around in the car park like I normally do. I can't do that. But I will try to get you some footage of the event today and tomorrow, should I make it through both days. I think I've got to apologise actually to you, but to all of you, because a lot of you probably right now as I'm filming this are thinking, Ben, what about the live stream? On Wednesday you did your watch party review of The Day the Earth Stood Still, and there was no live stream. You said you were going to do a live stream at the weekend. You said on Saturday or Sunday I'll do a live stream. I also want to do a comment reply video. I know. To be honest, the reason I did that was in case some of the people who don't want me at this conference, and I must say I think the organisers of the conference are they're not the principal people who don't want me there. As I said before, I think the conference organisers banned me because some of their circle, their inner circle, the speakers of that, they're the ones who are actually against me. I don't think Philip Mansell, Chris Evers and people like that, I don't think they actually are my enemies. I don't think they dislike me. In fact, so they've actually said as much. they banned me because basically the people who really can't stand me are the people who are like at the core of this conference community. And it's just easier. It's easier and quicker just to keep me out. Keeping me out makes their life easier. Now which is, I think it's a shame, incidentally. I've made this point before. I'm probably repeating myself. You know, I did, when the first conference was on and I wanted to go, I actually said, look, let's just have, I said publicly, I wrote a public statement to the, well, not, I didn't actually contact the Warrenites, not the Warrenites, that's what they call us, the anti-Larry Warren hate cult. I didn't contact, I blocked them all, you know, and I won't speak to them directly, but I made a statement saying, look, let's just have a 24-hour unconditional ceasefire, just so we can enjoy this conference. And the fact that I was then banned from the conference indicates that the anti-Larry Warren hate cult were not willing to go along with that. They were not willing to have a 24-hour ceasefire. They may well have said to the organisers, keep that bastard out, keep him out. And which I think is a shame. I mean, if I'd been organising the conference, I'd have said, you know, grow up. I'm not going to keep people out because you don't like them. But it's up to them. It's not my conference. I'm not one of the organisers. It's just I would do it differently if it were me. Now the reason I put out that live stream, because I think these people are probably monitoring. They do monitor what I do. I know that some of my Facebook friends are spies, because they seem to know everything I post on Facebook, even though my page is strictly friends only. I have 5,000 people on my friends list, and some of them I think are soccer council spies. And I'm not going to get into you know, massive internecine suspicion of everybody by sifting through and saying, are you real? Are you real? No, I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered. So I did that basically to put them off the scent, and I said, oh, they are. See, Ben's gonna be at home this weekend doing other things. He's not coming here. He's given up on the idea. In fact, I've several times actually over the last couple of months, I've put out statements. People have asked me if I'm attending. I said, nah, I'm banned. I've put out statements, essentially intended to put them off their guard, so they're not expecting me to turn up. Yeah, I am frankly interested. I'm worried, but I'm also interested. It would be an interesting thing, actually, if they really reacted against my presence there. You see, I don't even know if they're going to recognise me. I think some of them will. So people who know me well will. Most of the people who know me well are probably the people who are not going to have a go at, you know, not going to grass me up. But I'm curious to know if one of the people who does badly want me out of the way recognise me. How determined are they to keep me away? If they do recognise me, will they challenge me? I probably would say no. I mean, my guess is no. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but it's just, you see, because I will double down. I will double down. I will say, no, I am who I am David Jones. That is my name. I am David Jones. I chose David Jones because it's just a very ordinary name. And it's not too dissimilar from my real name, so I'm less likely to sort of slip up. I don't have to focus so much. If I call myself Montgomery Wilson Smythe or something, I'd have to continuously focus on maintaining that name whenever people ask me my name. I've got to be careful actually. If people shout, if I hear the word Ben, it's almost instinctive. It's almost instinctive for me to turn around, because we all do that as a reflex when someone calls our own name. I'm going to have to be on my guard all the time not to do that in case they try to slip me up that way. I have to concentrate continuously. If they do challenge me, I'm just going to say, no, I am David Jones. I am David Jones. And if they say, well, let me see your face then, I'll say, no, I can't. I have photophobia. I cannot. I will not show you my face. And I'll you see, this is the good thing, right? This is one of the reasons I chose to put my character David Jones. One of the reasons I chose him to be ill and disabled and old was that if they really get heavy with me, they're going to look like cunts in front of everyone else in the audience. Whereas if I'm sort of a fit young guy, if I go in my disguise as a sort of fit young chap, they're gonna, you know, it won't look like that. But I'll play the sort of, I'll play the character I'm playing. I cannot expose my skin to the light, especially my face or eyes. If I were to do so, it may trigger a seizure. It may trigger a seizure, and I'm sure you don't want me to. You don't want to call me an ambulance in the middle of your conference, do you? Things like that. I'll just play the weak and vulnerable old guy. My guess is they won't bother challenging me if they recognise me. That's my guess. If they do, like I say, I'll just double down. If they challenge me at the door when I'm going in and say, "You're Ben Emlyn Jones, aren't you? You can't come in," I'll say, "But I've got a ticket. I've travelled a long way and I'm not going away." Why? I'm not this Ben Emlyn Jones person you say I am. Who is this person? He must be an absolute cad. I thought I assumed I'd have heard about him in the newspapers by now, seeing as he's so awful. No, I'll just double down. So, guys, that's it. I am off. In about half an hour. I've got to put my David kit back on. I've only put it on once before, so it's kind of it's not very comfortable actually. I don't wear ties. I don't like wearing ties, which is odd because I wore a tie with my uniform when I was a porter a lot, you know. But now I like to have my neck free, you know. I found finding a shirt that fit me actually in Primark was more difficult than finding one in Age Concern or Oxfam. But ironically, I couldn't find one that fit me in my normal routines. I had to go and get one from, was it Primark or Marks and Spencer? I can't remember. Anyway, I won't be going back there for a while. Alright guys, so I'm going to now take a slow, shambling walk. I'm going to play the David card. I'm going to walk to the venue from here. It's actually quite a long way, so it's almost 3 miles. I'll take it slowly, because I'll keep my act on during the journey, in case someone from the conference passes me. I probably will start seeing people who know me and I know when I get close to the venue. Okay guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Wish me luck.
Hello everyone, I'm here on this wonderful bridge here in Hull. It appears to be actually a shipping canal or something. Now I should point out that one of the other reasons Ben has sort of confused me, right? I decided to leave the hitch all behind. It's not really just draws more attention to myself. One of the reasons that Ben has chosen to make me limp with the sticks is to disguise his own gait. It's possible that some people may be able to recognise him from how he moves, his walking, where he walks and moves and things. So this doesn't only make me appear more vulnerable, but also it makes him look less like Ben. So that's another reason I should point it out. Anyway, I'm making good time, so I'm going to continue on my journey now.
And he knew all the difference, he knew all the different focal lenses, all the different lens. He was just an expert. It was so funny to read their explanations, you know, the usual stuff, you know, swamp gas and Venus and all this kind of stuff. But he was saying, well, actually, no, judging by the position I was in and the lighting and the frame rate, and he was a really clever man. And I think his sighting deserves to be included in there because of his background.
You're getting this recorded in the infrared, and then also it was recorded on the radar with carrier fleets underneath. So that's just 3. But one thing that people tend to ignore, or they've actually got 80 of these reports, 80. So if these are the 3 that we know about.
Well, good early morning. It's about 2:30 in the morning actually. I've got insomnia again, which is hardly surprising. It's actually rare for me to get insomnia 2 nights running, but it's extenuating circumstances right now. Today, well, it's been quite a day. I've been through a roller coaster of emotions, but basically my attempt to infiltrate the Outer Limits magazine conference Saturday was 100% successful, much more so than I thought. When I went in there, I I did think some people might sort of like look at me and think, doesn't he look a bit familiar? I never, from what I can tell, nobody suspects me. I've not had a single suspicious look from anyone. At one point I passed Malcolm Robinson in the doorway to the toilet, a man who knows me quite well, and she just, oh, excuse me, here we are, hold the door open, and for me, because of course I'm an old guy with sticks, you know. No, he didn't give me a second look. I think maybe this is the way our brains work. Our brains, I suppose I overestimate my own recognisability because I know myself so well, I know my own appearance so well. Possibly a close member of my family or a close friend may be able to spot me. But there was no one that close there. This led to rather feelings I didn't expect to have. I really didn't expect to have. Feelings of guilt almost. And this is something I really despise about myself. It's a weakness that I have, and I don't even know I have it. Maybe you guys can psychoanalyze me. I know Charles from Project Camelot loves to do that. He loves to psychoanalyze me. But I started to feel guilty for my deception. The very fact that I deceived these people, I started to feel guilty, even though I know I shouldn't feel like that. My guilt is misplaced, because these are people who are, well, they have been, I think, unjust towards me, and therefore this is a kind of retaliation, which is the whole point that I'm doing this operation, this mission. And secondly, really my deception is inconsequential. I mean, who's the injured party? My point in doing this is to prove that I can attend the Outer Limits magazine conference and there's no negative consequences from my presence, because the organisers are convinced that all hell would break loose if I were there. Heavens would fall, the conference would have to be cancelled because of me being there, things like that, and it hasn't happened. What my hope is, by the end of tomorrow, everyone will go home having had a wonderful weekend, and they'll find out later that I was there, and they'll say, well, it didn't make any difference, did it? That's my whole purpose of being here. So, and I also felt, I felt guilty pretending to be so old and frail. People were very nice to me, people were helpful. I dropped my sticks at one point and someone said, "You alright, love?" One of the staff members at the Freedom Centre said, "You alright, love?" Oh, and I felt a bit guilty there, because of course I'm not. I'm not old and decrepit. So I didn't expect to feel that way. I started out on this and I shouldn't have. The conference itself was, the speakers were, with one exception, they were pretty good and they were pretty interesting. There was, as Chris Evers himself did a talk about a number of photographs that had been sent his way that he was suspicious of. For example, apparently there's a new Rendlesham Forest photo out, which is of it looks like a green disc, but apparently he thinks someone's put a light inside a bottle. This apparently was a Polaroid photo taken by a policeman. Well, that night, Beefy rents his fate. There are several other examples. Mike Covell, local man, talking again about UFOs and other paranormal phenomena in the area of Hull. I remember he was at the RawCon. Then there was Paul Ascoff. I was going to interview him, actually. I don't know if he'll still want to be interviewed when he sees this, but I did write to him a couple of times asking him to interview him. He was into psychic mediums, then he got into ufology, and he talks about parallel worlds, goblin universe, that kind of thing. The John Keel stuff. But So I feel sleepy. Maybe I should try and sleep again when I've done this. I didn't film earlier actually because I was just too tired. I got in here and I was exhausted because I had to walk. It's a 2-hour walk actually to the venue, 2 hours each way. And the reason it's 2 hours is because I have to stay in character. I can't. If anyone sort of drives past and spots me walking normally, then they think, what's that guy with the sticks doing walking normally? And that'll make them suspicious. So I had to stay in character for the whole journey. Paul Ascoff, yeah, very interesting chap. Talks about UFOs and other things and other dimensions. Sasha Christie, who, you know, I've got my issues with her, but she did a talk about her own childhood experience in Wales, which she's now found someone to back her up. Somebody else is supporting her now, saying that because they were there too. They were there on holiday with Sasha, and she supported her. And then was it Paul Sinclair, very interesting chap indeed, talking about the Bempton phenomenon. Basically, it's a location, it's just north of Hull on the coast actually, where all kinds of weird stuff has happened. Bigfoot sightings, dogman sightings, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids of various kinds, and disappearances, David Paulides style disappearances. Yeah, I've got a copy of his DVD. He's done a very good documentary. If I can, I'll pick up a book from his stall. Because I've been meaning to get one, because he'll want to sign it, but I'll have to ask him to sign it to David. If I do that, I'll owe him a big apology. I might wait actually till I see him again at another event. I can't give you any more major details on the talks because, you know, sitting there scribbling, taking notes, that's the kind of thing, that's a Ben-like thing to do. I couldn't do that. It may expose me. So I was sitting there thinking, what the hell am I? I was sitting there before the last talk thinking, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? And again, you viewers can probably maybe tell me why you think I'm doing this. Why is it so important to me? Why did it upset me so much being banned? I mean, people get banned from conferences all the time. But usually it's for a reason, and I suppose it's just such a... I don't really... I don't know what it is. I'd have to think about that. Maybe you can talk about it in the comments. I just felt upset at being banned, and I want to prove that I can attend this conference. Although I think the reason, I think I know why they really didn't want me there though, because Peter Robbins was there. Peter Robbins did a long talk about various anecdotes of his 40+ year career in ufology. During the Q&A, someone put their hands up and asked about Larry Warren, and he said he's going to talk about Larry tomorrow. Peter is, then Chris came up and made the announcement, yeah, he said this is the right audience to do this talk, well it is except for one, and he says tomorrow Peter is going to spend half an hour talking about Larry Warren. So he's, despite the fact he keeps saying he wants to put it behind him, I want to put it behind me, I want to move on now. Despite that, he keeps wanting to come back to it. And so he's going to spend half an hour tomorrow morning going on about it. I don't know. We'll see what happens anyway. I've downloaded an app, so I'll try and record the talk, although the sound quality is quite bad. I will attempt to record it from my phone surreptitiously, and just in case he says anything original, which is unlikely. I can't believe he's got anything new to say about this after all this time. but if he does, I'll be there, ready to record it. But yeah, this is not what I expected. I didn't expect to feel like this. I didn't expect to. I had this idea that it would be sort of fun. I was thinking that this would be some sort of mischievous prank on my part. I get there, I start feeling guilty, and then I suddenly realise, oh my God, Peter's going to have another go at Larry. And I start feeling angry. I start feeling angry that Peter's going to just bring this up again. I mean, honestly, he's so vindictive. I mean, I want to put it behind me. Well, put it behind you then, Peter. And stop talking about it. I mean, he's going to just go over what he's got. You know, despite the fact, oh, this needs to be done. The audience needs to hear this. The audience has already heard it. They've already heard my side of the story too. They've heard our side too. So it's probably just going to be a rehash of the stuff he's talked about before. But we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But as I said, my feelings have changed. I've been, like I said, it's been this roller coaster of emotions. I got there feeling nervous and mischievous. I started feeling guilty. Feeling, oh God, Ben. You know, what are you doing? You know, you really... Why should I feel that way? I mean, again, I don't know why I feel that way. I don't see why I should feel guilty. And then it finishes with feeling angry that they're gonna do this again, and realising this is why the organisers didn't want me there. This is why the organisers didn't answer my emails when I wrote asking if I could buy a ticket. They probably set up this ticket purchasing system just for that particular purpose. So every single person who purchased a ticket could be vetted. So either if they were inappropriate people, no one replied to say, sorry, we can't allow you to attend. They were just met with silence. And then, so this is not what I expected, but I know from previous situations where I've been in this situation, where things are never as you expect them to be. But once I've made a decision to carry out a mission, an adventure, a quest, I stick with it, and I'm going to stick with it. I made a decision. I went to a lot of trouble to obtain a ticket for this conference without the organisers knowing, and I'm going to stick to my decision to do what I'm doing. So we'll see what happens. I mean, tomorrow I think it'll be, if I have been rumbled in any way, I suppose I'll find out, because tomorrow morning is the most sensitive part of the entire conference, Peter's little talk on Larry. So if anyone has any suspicions of me, thinks I may not be, you know, the frail old guy with the sun hat and the goof mask and the sunglasses may not be who he appears to be, that's when they'll probably come down on me. That's when I guess there'll be some kind of move against me. If they don't, then I assume that nobody has. I didn't notice anyone looking at me suspiciously, so I might leave before the end tomorrow, actually, because I didn't get back in until 8:30, and by that time most of the shops were shut. I found one shop where I could buy sandwiches and a carton of orange squash. I was so thirsty. I was dehydrated. So I might leave before the end tomorrow, because tomorrow's Sunday and the shops are going to shut even later. So I might have to leave before the end. Because, mind you, once I'm out of there, I don't really have to stay in character. But I want to keep this quiet until this film is uploaded. So I'll probably stay in character until I leave Hull. Because if they get wind of what's coming, the trolls might try to flag my channel and stop me uploading. So I will stay in character till I'm out of Hull. Okay, so I'm yawning enough now. I'm going to try and sleep. If I can't, no, I can't. It doesn't matter how much I can't sleep when I have this insomnia. You know, the moment I have to get up, drowsiness hits me. Insomnia is like that. It's for me. It's like my body plays a dirty trick on me. It always seems to wear off just before I have to wake up. But and something I get anyway regularly, every week or so. And this weekend I've had it 2 nights. But it's extenuating circumstances, like I said. Anyway guys, wish me luck for tomorrow. I was praying to the gods of mischief, Loki and all the others, when I was walking up there. So hopefully they'll be smiling down on me tomorrow morning.
This here is the venue, the Freedom Centre. It's a lovely sunny day here. You'll see me. I've just left the venue. It's over. Outer Limits Magazine Conference 2022 is done, and I'm bloody relieved, I tell you. I'm going to head for a pub. There's a pub up the road called the Highland Laddie, where I had a Diet Coke earlier this afternoon. I'm going back there, but this time I'm going to have something stronger. I think I've earned it. Quite something. I'll say more later. You know, I feel sad all of a sudden because I've just been thinking how much Gareth Davis would have loved this story. And what a brilliantly fun time we would have had telling it on the Mindset podcast. Gareth, if you're anywhere right now and you can see me, I hope you did enjoy it.
Don't worry, I've got trousers on underneath. Don't look so worried, I've got a t-shirt underneath. Mission accomplished. Look at my tie. It's light blue. The tie is light blue. It's the colour of hospital portrait. It was staring them in the face the whole time. Well, yeah, day 2 of the conference, and the conference itself is now over, and I've come back after my lovely little pint of what was it, woodpecker cider I had, very nice. This is just orange juice in the pub. Much deserved, much needed. I took the long walk back to the hotel for the last time, and that's it, the conference is over. Yeah, I was in character for the walk back because I don't want anyone to know what this is about till I upload the video, because some of the trolls will try and yeet the channel. They'll try and yeet the channel before I upload it. That's the thing. Anyway, yeah, the day 2 of the conference is actually better than the first in some ways. Although I thought both days were pretty good. It was a roaring success, I would say. It was pretty good, generally. It began with some awards that were given out. This conference has awards just like UFO Truth Mag. Ronnie and Philip Kinsella got awards, which I think is much deserved. There was a technical guy on. Who was that? Because, well, yeah, one did, which one it was, does all the artwork for OLM. Peter Robbins got an award, of course. Of course, that was a bit predictable, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, I'd say that when it comes to the speakers at this conference, I thought they were all pretty good, with one exception that I will talk about. I thought the speakers were pretty good. So we'll deal with the good speakers of today first. Colin Saunders was there. Now you may be familiar with that name because I have actually interviewed him myself. There is a video on my channel in which I interview Colin about his strange experience. He had an interesting encounter. Like I said, these reviews are going to be quite short because I couldn't sit there taking notes for reasons I've already explained. But Colin had a remarkable experience a number of years ago, when he was driving along with some friends and family, and it involved the sighting of a flying triangle. It was a very close encounter which he remembered very well, and actually has managed to create a number of models of it. It helps. He is actually an aviation engineer, which of course helps very much with that sort of thing. So that was pretty good what Colin did there. I've actually seen the model, I've held it. He's made another one since. He's actually created a number now, which is he's come up with several theories about what it might be. Now, unlike people like Michael Schratt, and indeed he's been conversing with Michael Schratt an awful lot, he doesn't believe what he saw was alien reproduction vehicle or secret space program. He doesn't believe that. He believes it was extraterrestrial. That's perfectly possible. I mean, it's actually become quite a fashionable idea to say that, well, any UFO is just not a ball of light. Anything structured in the sky, it's back-engineered alien technology. For reasons I've explained on previous videos, I don't think that's the case. I think it is certainly true in some cases, and I wouldn't say that Michael Schratt is wrong in his ideas, in his basic idea. What I think he does is I think he applies it too liberally to cases where it doesn't actually fit. His theoretical model doesn't actually fit. And funnily enough, Colin has had a run-in with old Mr. Modest himself as well, Dr. Stephen Greer. Because apparently what happened was Greer used a picture of Colin's sighting based on his design. It appears in one of Greer's movies. I don't know which one it is. Is it Above Top Secret or Road to Disclosure? I don't know. There's so many, they sort of blend into one, and they're all very similar. So I don't know which one it was, but in one of Greer's films, one of his documentaries, this appears, and Greer gives it an example of an alien reproduction vehicle. When Colin looked into it, he found out that he just simply got that information from Michael Schratt. And he hadn't actually approached Colin at all. Now, that was very interesting. It's good to see Colin again on stage. Now, like I said, the one downside about this particular conference is I can't go up and speak to people and reintroduce myself. I met a lot of people there I know well. A lot of good friends of mine were there. And I couldn't go up to them and start talking to them. I saw Jason Gleaves, I saw Paul Sinclair. I didn't get a copy of his book in the end. I thought that would be a bit dishonest of me. I saw Lorraine of the Marshall V and Summers stall. She was there. Saw a couple of other people I recognised from Probe. A couple of faces I knew, not names. You can't really, and Colin himself. I mean, you probably remember me. I had to remain isolated behind my disguise. And the same goes to two other guys I saw there that I know quite well. And I'm fond of and I like talking to, are Philip and Ron Kinsella. I've already mentioned they received awards. Both of them actually received an award. As you know, they spoke at Dreaming Saucers. And no, I can't tell them apart either. But they both did a talk, one after the other, and I missed it. I actually went out to the pub, and I just needed to get out of that place. I needed to get out. I needed some fresh air. I needed to sit in a beer garden and have a drink. And all I had was Diet Coke, like I said earlier. But I just needed to get out for a couple of hours. So apologies to Philip and Ronnie. You know, I must apologise for not seeing their talks, but I mean, I've seen their talks before, and I'm familiar with their talks. So, so I didn't see theirs. Then Malcolm Robinson came on. Now, this is a guy, he actually, oh dear, Malcolm, I shouldn't say everything. I'm not going to tell you everything what happened, because it was kind of private between us, but he went away to Hull. Hull seems to be the hotbed of the anti-Larry Warren sort of faction. I don't know which conference it was. He went to one of the Hull conferences, and to cut a long story short, he completely disowned me afterwards. He didn't speak to me. He just broke contact with me, and eventually I challenged him on this. I said, "Look, Malcolm, what's happened is, I know what's happened now, because he didn't give me any explanation. He just seemed to disappear from my social media." And I said to him, "Malcolm, you've spent the weekend in Hull listening to my name being dragged through the dirt, and you decided to block me without even hearing my testimony." And well, he did reply, and we had a conversation. I'm not going to relate that. I think there's private between us. Oh, that's not covering up the microphone. So then, of course, the third speaker was the final speaker was Mr. Three Times himself, Peter Robbins. Yeah, he closed the conference with what I thought was actually not a bad speech. It was all right by his standards, compared to his others, especially the second one. It was actually very good. He talked about the anatomy of the UFO cover-up and how the media was involved. He was actually quite right, and he did quite a good assessment of it, I thought. And he actually reached some of the same conclusions that I have about the Cutler-Twining memo, about official ridicule and denial. It actually began right back at the beginning with Kenneth Arnold, and ended in literally almost exactly just over 75 years. Sorry, just over 70 years later with the New York Times article by Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal. Literally all just over 75 years and 5 months that cover-up lasted. 70, not 75. Why do I keep saying 75? I know. 75 is a number burned into my mind at the moment because it's the 75th anniversary of Roswell. I have to do something for that in July. Yeah, I will. So that was the speakers for day 2. And I say all of them pretty good. The one exception was Monsieur Robbins. Now, as I explained last night when I couldn't sleep and I was sort of yawning, I don't know how coherent I am. I haven't looked back at the video yet. I'm not reshooting it. He announced actually at the end of the first day that he was going to dedicate the first half hour of the following morning to giving people his statement on Larry Warren. Now, this I think is rather strange because I know that the organisers, I don't know if it's Chris Evers or one of the others, I know that somebody involved with this conference actually said, when in the previous conferences where the anti-Larry Warren brigade were there, they said, "Look, I don't want this brought up at this conference. His name is not to be mentioned." I think it might have been the one I was banned from, the first one. I think it was the first one. Obviously there's been some to and fro because this conference was cancelled 2 years running because of the bloody lockdown. It was nice. I mean, it's actually, it must be such a relief actually for Chris and the others to get this conference out after being in the wilderness for so long. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, which does make it a special conference in that sense. But obviously that's all changed. There's been some negotiations, and Peter has decided he does want to make another final statement on Larry Warren. He's made about 50 final statements on Larry Warren. I expect he'll probably make 100. He'll probably be making final statements on Larry Warren for the rest of his life. Now, I was very keen to... I was actually speaking to some of my friends. I did actually confide in a friend of mine who's kind of like involved with Larry and also friends with Larry, mutual friend of Larry, about what I was doing. And so I've been keeping him posted with what's going on during the course by text message. And I've let him know what this was about. Now, he was very careful. Ben, make a note of everything you can, record it if you can. If you can record it secretly and in good quality and things like that. We need to know everything he's going to say. And I have got a sound recording out, but it failed after 3 minutes. It just records me coming out of the bog. So I couldn't record it. The quality might not have been very good anyway. But what I did make as much of a note as I could of what Peter said. As I said, I couldn't make written notes, but I was very careful to try and commit what he said to memory, because this could have been a moment where he's going to dredge up some more shit about Larry, which we defenders of Larry Warren would have to address. But you know what? He didn't. He didn't. Well, he made one new accusation. And he said that the new accusation, the one original new thing he said in half an hour of rabbiting, was that Larry Warren had once turned up at his flat wearing a pair of fake John Lennon sunglasses. That's the one. I've never heard Peter mention that before. That's the one new thing I've heard him mention. Funny enough, he has never mentioned that before. I don't know why he never mentioned that before, if he hasn't. I don't remember him mentioning it. The rest of it was primarily Larry Warren. He threatened a woman, and that's Larry's handwriting on there. He faked his handwriting, and that doctor's not an eye specialist, and oh yeah, and the antiques. That was it. So it was the threats of violence, the doctor being an eye specialist, not being an eye specialist, the fake handwriting, and the fact that Larry Warren he trades fake antiques. What's the phrase Peter used? Oh, I can't remember. He used some kind of phrase that to describe Larry's grand larceny in the world of antiques. Which of course, now, basically how do I put it? Every single accusation on that list is false. It's completely false, and I have comprehensively discredited it, along with others such as Larry Warren and a couple of other people. We have comprehensively discredited all those accusations. These are things that Peter has said many times before, and he just repeated them again in front of all this audience. Now, Chris Evers, the MC, he wasn't zealous when it comes to this matter. He did say, Peter's got a lot of... I can't remember his exact quote, so apologies if I got that wrong. He said, this is a story that needs to be told. This audience needs to hear it. Well, the audience... I'd be surprised if there's a single person in that audience who hasn't already heard these accusations, and also, hopefully, heard our explanation of them and how they are fabrications. Because if Gary and myself and others have done our job right, then it means that we also heard our side of the story and how we explain that Peter Robbins is talking a load of bullshit. And that's all I really need to say, because I've covered this so many times before. What point is there in repeating myself again? Repeating the things that were really hashed over 5 years, 6 years ago? Yeah, it's being perpetuated. The primary perpetuator of this is Peter Robbins now. It really is. A lot of people were slagging off Capel Green. Well, there was a little Q&A, and someone said, "Well, Capel Green's not coming out, has it? That must mean that they're not going to release the film because they know it's dodgy." Well, it doesn't mean that. Capel Green seems... I don't know all the details here, but I am in touch with people on the inside of this production. It is still an active production. It appears to be experiencing some kind of development hell at the moment, but it's got nothing to do with the factual nature of what's being discussed in the film. I assure you that. The factual nature it's more likely to do with the expansion of the project from its original remit. The film is still active. The film will appear at some point. It could even take another year. I don't know. And I know you guys have been waiting a long time, but this happens in the movie industry. No one complained. Well, people have complained. Big fans complain. But when the Avatar sequel is about 10 years late now, isn't it? And everyone's saying, no one is saying, well, that's because Avatar is dodgy. No, of course not. So really, all in all, my assessment of this conference is it was really good. It was worth attending. Worth attending. Now, you're not going to agree with everything you hear. You may strongly disagree with some of the things you hear, as I did. You may consider some of the things. Well, one of the things that one speaker said very, very disreputable indeed. But I am a libertarian, I believe in free speech. He's got every right to spout his shit, just as I have every right to call him out on spouting his shit, which I'm doing, and I have been doing in a dedicated manner ever since he started spouting his shit. And indeed the others, the handful of other people who are the sole source of all this anti-Larry Warren bullshit. So I'm doing a Stephen Molyneux now, and you're repeating bullshit too many times. Need a thesaurus. But generally speaking, this was a really good conference. This is brilliant. Malcolm Robertson, John Ashkoff, you know, Mark Cavell, whatever his name is, the local guy. The Kinsellas I'm familiar with. I didn't hear, but I'm familiar with their talks. All the others had something. Even Sasha Christie. I know I've got a problem with Sasha Christie, but you know, I've got really no opinions at all about her childhood abduction experience at all. I don't really care if it's true or not. I've got no reason right now to suppose it's not true. It doesn't really matter, that's not my problem with her, as you know. That was interesting too. There was a guy now who's backing her up in her experience. She was there too. So, if that's the case, so be it. My personal opinion of her and our personal relationship has nothing to do with the factual nature of what she's claiming. Favourite speaker? I think I'm going to have to say Malcolm Robinson. The Sawkey poltergeist case and the other things he talked about were really interesting, and he's presented it very, very well. He's got audio and like really neat visuals and stuff. He's worked very hard on his slides. Despite the fact that he's not speaking to me anymore, I don't dislike the guy. I'm not the one who initiated our breakup. He was, and like with Andrew Johnson, you know, I still, just because I've fallen out with him doesn't mean I'm not going to watch what he has to say. I might well get his book. Actually, he's got a new book out. I picked up a flyer for his new book. It's this. So I picked that up. Paranormal Case Files, Great Britain, Volume 1. Yeah, that might be an older one actually. Yeah. So that's worth. I think that's certainly worth seeing. I think that's certainly worth reading. His UFO Case Files books of Scotland are very good. They're really, really good. Now, I really, like I said, I reiterate that I don't think the Chris Evers and the other organisers have any malicious intent in this situation. I do believe that they really want to create a good conference. That's their main goal. I think they played it the wrong way. I wouldn't do it the way he's done it. I mean, if there's two warring factions going to a conference, and one of them is saying let's have a 24-hour truce, let's just bury the hatchet just so we can enjoy this conference. Just for however long the conference is, 24 hours, 48 hours. Let's just bury the hatchet. I wouldn't be banning that person. I wouldn't want to ban anyone. I'd want to go along with this idea of a temporary truce. After all, we are adults. At the RawCon, I was perfectly civil. Well, I wasn't civil. I just stayed out of the way of Alison Dunlop. You know, there was no disruption at the RawCon, even though Alison and Dunlop were not just both present. We were both on the speakers list. Why can't we do that? Why couldn't we have done that on the conference I got banned from? Rather than asking me not to attend, why not promote my suggestion? And if the other side's not willing to promote it, then who's the bad? You know, who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy here? Am I the bad guy still? Am I the one who has to get banned? It's interesting though, because I did do an interview with Tiberius Kirk about this, Tino, and I discussed the email conversation I had with Chris Evers after I bought my ticket to the first conference, and he returned it. He returned the money, and he said, "I'm not sure that good order could be maintained with you there." Okay, well, let's just look at this conference right now. Okay, what has just happened here in Hull this weekend? A conference has happened that has been a great success. Everything went smoothly. Everyone had a wonderful time, didn't they? They had a wonderful time, and I think everyone was smiling, everyone was happy. There was no disruption, there was no upheavals, and so everything went well. So yes, even though there was a snake in the garden, even though there was a rotten apple in the barrel, didn't affect the conference. I was there. I was present for the whole weekend, apart from when I nipped out this afternoon. I was there the whole time, and good order was maintained. Now, of course, I know this is a one-off. I can't put my disguise on again. I'm going to get rid of it. Well, I'll throw most of it away. The sun hat could come in handy. The Coof mask, of course, goes in the bin. Those silly gloves I wore go in the bin. The walking sticks I'll give to the Salvation Army or something. I'll give them to charity. If someone who really needs them can use them. So I want you to, all of you, just think about why that. Think about that. It's very important for everyone watching now to think why that was. A conference happened. The guy who was banned. I mean, the first time I was at, Chris told me I was banned. This time he didn't. No one told me I was banned this time. But I was kind of. The hint was that I kept writing off asking to buy tickets. And 3 times I sent emails asking to buy tickets and I received no reply. No one wrote to me and said, Ben, we can't allow you to attend. I'm very sorry. And, I'm trying to be nice about it, Ben. And indeed, that's what happened the first time. The guy, he was very nice about it. But, but we can't allow you to attend. I didn't get anything like that. I just got no reply at all. So come think of it, I was never formally banned, was I, anyway? So there we go. So I could always say that I was never officially banned. But, I was essentially because I received no reply. That meant that they weren't going to sell me any tickets. But I bought one anyway. And I attended, and everything was absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. There was zero trouble. Zero. I don't. It's funny. Just got to make sure I go through all my notes here. Yeah. In fact, but it's been. I should point out it's interesting that. Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. I forgot what I was bloody talking about. Silly me. Well, yeah. There was good order was maintained. There was no trouble at all. I should point out that this has not been what I expected. This assignment has been very different to what I expected. I've been making plans for a couple of months. I've kept it from everyone except this guy I told you about, Larry Warren's friend. Someone I do trust and I know will keep it quiet. I've been keeping it quiet now. I've been planning this for a couple of months, and I've put in a few diversionary statements on some of my videos saying, well, I'm banned, I'm not going, or I'm doing a live stream this weekend, things like that, just to put people off the scent. So I've gone to a lot of trouble to arrange for this to be done secretly. When I arrived, the moment I started approaching Hull, I put on my initial disguise, the one I wore from the station to here, so no one would know I was in town. I've basically lived in this room off sandwiches, haven't had a proper meal since Thursday in York. I've got peanuts tonight, actually. Yeah, dry roasted and salted, because I still need to remain undercover until I leave Hull. So I did it. Went to a lot of effort and I planned it all in advance what I was going to do to remain so no one would know I was in town before I put my disguise on when I go out. I expected it to be sort of funny. I was expecting to have a laugh over all this. And I suppose I have in a way. But as I said last night, I've experienced numerous different emotions relating to what I'm doing here, and it was not what I expected. Things often I find are not what you expect them to be. And this was not what I expected it to be. As I said, a lot of you will be asking, well, maybe you felt guilty because you did something wrong. You deceived the organisers of the conference. They wouldn't sell you a ticket, but you turned up anyway in disguise. So it's, you're going to apologise, Ben. You're going to apologise. No, I'm not going to apologise. I'm not sorry for what I did. I mean, the feeling guilty is not the same as being sorry. Feeling guilty is an emotion, and you can't control your emotional response to various things. Slaxer made a video about this. The whole "don't let it get to you" thing. He's right. People's emotional response is something you can't control. Just because I feel guilty doesn't mean that guilt is justified, and it wasn't. But no, I'm not going to apologise. I'm not sorry. And then again, really, what is there to be sorry for? I mean, I think apologies are only valid if there is some some damage, loss or injury done to another. In this case, no damage, loss or injury has been done by my deception. So this in a sense is a victimless crime. It's an inconsequential deception. If I'd gone in there and started disrupting and trying to be bitchy with people, that would have been consequential, but it wasn't consequential. I just sat there quietly, and I made mental notes. I just wanted, I suppose, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not aware of all the psychological forces that drove me to do this. I'm not aware of them all. But obviously, I wanted very badly to prove that I could go to this conference, which I was banned from, and everything that everyone said would happen wouldn't happen, and it hasn't. I think mission accomplished. I proved my point, I think. Wouldn't you agree? Funny thing is, like, it's interesting. I really didn't expect the thing where no one recognised me, as I said before. I mean, obviously everyone's going to say they recognise me now. In fact, everyone who's there is now posting in the comments section, I knew it was you all along, Ben. I knew it was you. Yes, I did. I didn't say anything. We thought it was just best to let you get on with it and hope for the best, so we didn't challenge you on this. But we all know you were there. Well, if you did, well, that's an unprovable assertion. It's an unfalsifiable assertion. So I can't prove you didn't know I was there. What I can do is say that not once did anyone even give me a suspicious look. And I had my sunglasses on, so I could sort of go like that without people noticing me staring at them. Nobody stared at me. No one looked at me and thought, "Isn't that Ben Emlyn-Jones?" I never once saw that. And I think this is something interesting about the way our recognition system works, human beings, because I think what's obvious is that when we see other people, they're sort of like signifiers that we look for, usually facial features, by which we recognise one another. And once you get those signifiers, it's only then you start noticing other things about a person, such as their stature and build, a certain timbre to their voice, which they can't cover up. So if you don't get those initial primary recognition stimuli in your brain, then the rest of the recognition circuits don't click in, and you don't recognise that person. And clearly nobody did. Nobody did. I really do. I never once got a single strange look from anyone. Interesting. So I learned. I didn't know that. Probably I've had this myself, where I've seen someone maybe wearing different clothes or with a coof mask on, and I know them, and I didn't say anything because my face was completely covered. So yeah, interesting. Now, I also had a strange. At one point, I was sort of like dozing. This is interesting. Now, maybe I'll say more about this in another video because it's. I don't want this one to be too long. I was dozing a little bit at one point, the way I do, in a half-conscious state in conferences. And I suddenly felt something come up my left shoulder, and there was a beautiful young woman there, and she a blonde woman, and she with a white dress, just floating in the sky, and put a hand on my shoulder and smiled, like I can't prove it, but was that an angel? I don't know. Anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. That's a big subject to go into, but it could be I did have maybe that's an angel saying they were watching over me. I don't know. Anyway, everyone, I think I've said all I need to say about this. There'll be another video. The next video will probably be my York one, although I do need to get that comment reply video out of the way, and of course the watch party live stream. But there is the video I made in York with Lily. That's the person you haven't seen that yet. That's coming up soon, if not the next video. That's the end of this particular video. I think I've said everything I need to say about this. Yes, I have. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Just going through my notes. I hope you found this entertaining and enlightening and all those other things. I've waited a long time to make this video, and I'm glad I made it. I'm bloody looking forward to uploading it. Thank you for watching Hapanwo TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.